My name's Justine McIsaac. I'm the Consumption Treatment Services Coordinator. The reason I do this work is because I love people that use substances. Failed drug policies have taken their lives for far too long, and I'm here to support them. So Kingston has always been an amphetamine-driven town. We saw that drastically change when OxyContin came onto the market, and we saw like a heavy increase of opiate dependency in our community. When the Ontario government decided to delist OxyContin, we as harm reduction advocates knew this would be disastrous, but we didn't expect the outcome that we've had now. So more than ever, we need consumption treatment services, safe injection sites, safe consumption sites, because people are forced to use a toxic drug supply. Initially, we started out at Street Health Centre, operating from 4 p.m. to 10 p.m. We were seeing people, but not in the way that we wanted to. We actually became an unofficial drop-in because nobody had anywhere to go at night. When COVID-19 hit, we realized that our people were losing access to services when they needed it the most. We decided to pair with a partner organization that has the same philosophies and views about people that use substances that we do. We initially did a pilot at Artillery Park. We saw our numbers increase substantially. Our numbers and responses to overdose increased substantially. We decided to keep this partnership going, and ever since we have been servicing people at levels we've never seen before.
So I'm Amber. I'm the team lead here at the Safe Injection site, but I do all the same work that all of our coworkers do, right? So from paperwork to responding to overdoses to kind of supporting our people in whatever way that needs to happen. An overdose prevention support worker does, I think initially when you think of that title, people are like, oh, well, they prevent overdose. And essentially, yeah, that's part of it. But that's a small part of our role. Part of the biggest thing that we do here is build relationships with people. So it's about building those connections and kind of supporting people however they need, right? Clients here make their own decisions, and we kind of support them in how they go about doing that. Once they've decided that this is something that they want to do, they may ask for a little bit of help, they may need a lot of help depending on the person. So generally, a lot of people think that it's about harm reduction and overdose prevention, and while that's kind of the root of our work, it goes so much further than that. I find myself on the phone with lawyers, with people, you know, applying for Ontario Works, getting their taxes done. This is just kind of a part of it. This is kind of where we do the work, and it's just so much more than an overdose prevention worker, I guess. Ultimately, when people come in to use here, we want to make sure this is a safe space, that people are comfortable, that they feel loved. And then obviously if an emergency happens, we respond to that in a way that is at the client's best interest, right? So we're not looking to put people into withdrawal. We kind of start bare minimum, starting with stimulation. We move into like oxygen, and then of course naloxone if necessary. But we try to really, a lot of the work comes before giving naloxone and actually responding to an overdose.
I got evicted from my place, and I just came here. I had no idea that this even existed. And second day I was here, I think somebody introduced me to coming down here, and it was just, it's just nice to do it, like to do whatever you need to do and still be welcome to do it, and have people here to look after you, to make sure you're okay. And it's a good place to be. Nice, clean, friendly, helpful, and non-violent, which is the best. No jumping around, and it's got control, but it's still fun.
So obviously the most important piece to what we do is allowing people to have a safe space to use illicit substances. And if they experience an adverse event like an overdose, we respond quickly and effectively. But I think one of the most important things that we do also is the relational model that we build with people. We show them acceptance, love, kindness, and what that does, it allows us to find out exactly what people need and how we can service them best.
A lot of people come in because of word of mouth, right? So in the beginning stages when we had just opened, it was like there's not any word of mouth because nobody's been here. And we just tried to allow people to come in, kind of look at the space and get comfortable, right? So if you're like, like I use substances, but like I don't know if I want to come in and inject in front of strangers, which I can totally respect. So people would come in, chat with us a little, and realize that this is actually an okay place to be, that this is safe, and that it's maybe not what people had expected in the clinical sense. Like, you're not coming in to nurses and doctors sitting here. The biggest thing is we're people who've not only do we get it, but we've been there. In two ways, it's a really positive piece of what we have here. A, lots of times we know people. Lots of times, once people realize that like we actually get their struggle, people are far more willing to come in. And the other piece of that is it brings hope. People see that we've been able to do something, that we've been able to, you know, get better in some sort of sense, at least get stability or whatever that means. And it gives this sense of hope that people are like, this isn't it for me. And we've had lots of times people come in and work for us, and people join our team that once, you know, accessed services years ago. And it's pretty cool in that. So I would say to somebody who is apprehensive about coming here, honestly, come and meet the people. The people who work here are fantastic, and we work really hard to get people to like be comfortable, and like, what is it that you need from us that would make you more comfortable in this space? What can we do? And I think that that's more part of our work than actually responding to overdose.
I don't know what I'd do without them, because they took care of me after I had my accident when I was here. More than anything, I just sat down here for days sometimes, even just sleeping, and they just make sure everything's okay. Better than family. 100% open arms, and they're nothing but, they all care and they help. And even if you just feel like just coming in to sit down and hang out, it's good to come in just to sit down and just take a breath.
Once we build those relationships, I find out that, you know, Johnny really wants to get on opiate substitution therapy, so I refer him to Street Health for Suboxone or Methadone or Sublocade. I also find out Johnny really wants to go to residential treatment, so I'm able to refer a gains assessment for him to get into residential treatment. We do employment, we do housing, we do a variety of different services. This is a space for people that we've created that is for them and is all about them, and that's the most important part. This population is the most vulnerable, and we need to care the most for them, and we haven't been doing that, but now we have the opportunity to provide dignified, adequate care for people that deserve it the most.
These are people's kids, people's mothers, fathers, brothers. People love people who come here. Dead people don't get sober. It's as simple as that, right? And I think a lot of the misconception around who they are as a people is that there's some kind of moral failing, that, you know, that people just break the law, you know, everybody here cheats, lies, and steals, and that they're kind of this like bad person, which I think is a lot of what people think about people who use substances. As much as I love my job and I love what we do, this is a Band-Aid solution to a much bigger problem. Like, I think about all of the places that don't have this. It's sad, really.
So there's a lot of misconceptions about safe consumption services in the community. One of the biggest ones is that we give people drugs. That's just not the case. People are welcome to use our space with pre-obtained illicit substances. We operate under a Section 56, which allows those individuals to use an illicit substance in this space because it is a life-saving essential service. Some of the benefits to having a local safe consumption service in your community is A, lowers the rate of communicable diseases, B, paraphernalia in the community. You see communities that have safe consumption sites and needle distribution programs have way lower rates of needle stick injuries in the community. It also is sending a message to the greater public that we care for our most vulnerable and we will respond when they need it the most. Another myth is that substance use is a choice. And going back to adverse childhood experiences, when we gauge people's physical trauma, mental trauma, and emotional trauma from their childhood, they're exposed to far more risks than they would be before, including using substances, being homeless, contracting communicable diseases like Hep C, HIV, chronic COPD. It is not a choice. This is a failure of our healthcare system. It takes a village to raise a child, and for some reason we have lost that as a community, and we need to get back to caring for our most vulnerable.
There's no reason to be afraid at all. It's one of the best places, and you don't knock it till you try it. That's all I gotta say. It's one of the best places I've ever been, and one of the cleanest places I've ever been able to use and be safe about it. So
Just come see us. Come visit us, come check it out, because we're like a family here. And I don't know anybody's ever come and been like, I never want to go back there.
We have created a space here that completely accepts you for who you are and all the struggles that you carry. We're here to wrap our arms around you and care for you until you're ready to care for yourself.